he's very dirty. I don't want talking for this, because, just he's too much.
When a fighter like Gennady Golovkin finally steps away from the ring, the gloves come off in more ways than one. Known worldwide as Gug, Golovkin built his legacy on devastating power.
He's gonna get hit anyway, so he's saying almost, I may as well.
Relentless pressure, and a quiet but icy confidence. He wasn't a trash talker. He wasn't flashy. But inside the ropes, he was ruthless. After retirement, he reflected on the rivalries that pushed him to his limits.
This is just out of the ordinary.
Yeah, he's being broken down systematically almost.
The opponents who tested his patience, his pride, and his power. These weren't personal grudges, they were professional wars fueled by bad blood, controversial decisions, and unforgettable nights. Here are the 10 fighters who defined his toughest rivalries. 1. Canelo Alvarez. No rivalry shaped Golovkin's career more than his trilogy with Canelo Alvarez. Their first fight in 2017 instantly became one of the most debated bouts of the modern era. Golovkin walked forward all night, pumping his jab and applying pressure, while Canelo countered with sharp combinations. When the result was announced as a split draw, outrage exploded across the boxing world. Many analysts believed Golovkin had done enough to win convincingly. That decision planted the seed of tension that would define the rest of their rivalry. The 2018 rematch was even more intense. Canelo adjusted his style, standing his ground more often and fighting aggressively in the center of the ring. Golovkin remained disciplined but appeared frustrated by the politics surrounding the event, especially after Canelo's earlier suspension controversy. When Canelo won a narrow majority decision, Golovkin's calm exterior barely hid his disappointment. Years later, their third fight felt like unfinished business. Even though Golovkin was older, he entered determined to reclaim respect. For him, Canelo wasn't just another opponent. He was the symbol of unresolved controversy and the defining challenge of his era. 2. Daniel Jacobs. Daniel Jacobs presented one of the most complex stylistic puzzles Golovkin ever faced. When they met in 2017, Jacobs came in as a strong, athletic former champion who believed he had the tools to disrupt Golovkin's dominance. Early in the fight, Golovkin scored a flash knockdown that seemed to set the tone. But Jacobs quickly adapted, switching stances, moving laterally, and using hand speed to offset Golovkin's pressure. Unlike many of GGG's previous opponents who wilted under his relentless attack, Jacobs grew stronger as the fight progressed. He targeted Golovkin's body and forced exchanges that tested the champion's chin and endurance. The bout went the full 12 rounds, a rarity during Golovkin's long knockout streak, and ended in a competitive, unanimous decision. Behind the scenes, there had been tension over rehydration clauses and negotiation details, which only added intensity to the matchup. Golovkin later acknowledged that Jacobs demanded tactical discipline and patience. It wasn't a personal dislike, but the fight represented a turning point, proof that Golovkin's aura of invincibility could be challenged by elite athleticism and strategy. 3. Sergey Derevyanchenko. By the time Golovkin faced Sergey Derevyanchenko in 2019, critics were beginning to question whether age had caught up with him. Derevyanchenko, known for his relentless pressure and body punching, turned the contest into a brutal war. Golovkin dropped him early with a sharp right hand, but instead of fading, Derevyanchenko came forward with even greater intensity. The middle rounds were punishing. Derevyanchenko attacked Golovkin's ribs with thudding hooks, forcing him to retreat at moments rarely seen before. The fight became a gritty inside battle, full of clinches and exchanges that drained both men physically. By the final bell, both fighters looked exhausted, their faces marked by the damage of combat. Golovkin won a narrow decision, but the scorecards were debated. Some fans believed Derevyanchenko had done enough. For Golovkin, the bout was a reminder that every champion eventually faces challengers hungry to take everything. The tension came from the physical punishment and the realization that the margin for error was shrinking. It was less about hatred and more about survival at the highest level. 4. Kell Brook. When Kell Brook moved up 2 weight classes to challenge Golovkin in 2016, many doubted the wisdom of the decision. Brook was a talented welterweight champion, confident in his speed and accuracy. During the build-up, he boldly claimed he would expose flaws in Golovkin's style. That confidence created intrigue and tension. Inside the ring, Brook started brightly, landing sharp counters that briefly caught Golovkin's attention. But as the rounds progressed, Golovkin's size and power began to tell. His jab snapped Brook's head back repeatedly, and heavy right hands gradually wore him down. The damage accumulated until Brook's corner stopped the fight to protect him from further punishment. For Golovkin, the fight symbolized the risk fighters take when ambition overrides physical reality. He respected Brook's bravery, but felt the criticism beforehand underestimated his own skill set. The bout reinforced Golovkin's reputation as a destructive middleweight force, yet it also sparked debate about matchmaking and fighter safety. 5. David Lemieux. David Lemieux was seen as one of the most dangerous punchers in the middleweight division when he faced Golovkin in 2015. Holding an IV title and boasting serious knockout power, Lemieux promised to test Golovkin's chin like never before. The build-up was fiery, filled with bold predictions and confidence from both camps. Once the bell rang, however, Golovkin delivered a technical masterclass. Instead of recklessly trading punches, he relied on his jab, one of the most underrated weapons in boxing. Round after round, that jab controlled distance, neutralizing Lemieux's power. Whenever Lemieux tried to close the gap, Golovkin responded with crisp combinations and punishing accuracy. By the later rounds, Lemieux's face showed the toll of repeated clean shots. Golovkin methodically broke him down before securing a stoppage victory. The tension stemmed from the hype surrounding Lemieux's power and the belief that he could derail Golovkin's dominance. Instead, the fight showcased Golovkin's discipline and ring IQ, proving he was more than just a knockout artist. 6. Billy Joe Saunders. Although they never fought, Billy Joe Saunders was one of Golovkin's most frustrating would-be opponents. Saunders held a title and talked openly about outboxing GGG, yet negotiations repeatedly collapsed. Golovkin valued unification, and Saunders' unwillingness to finalize terms created public tension. The verbal exchanges were sharp, and fans were left disappointed. Sometimes, the rivalries that never happen are the most aggravating. 7. Chris Eubank Jr. Chris Eubank Jr. was another fight that slipped away. Contracts were signed, then disputes erupted over financial guarantees. Golovkin saw it as a lack of seriousness. Eubank's flamboyant personality clashed with Gig's stoic demeanor, creating a cultural and stylistic contrast that intrigued fans. Though the fight never materialized, the bad blood lingered in interviews and press comments. 8. Canelo Alvarez Trilo Tentom. The third fight deserves separate mention because it came years after their first war. By 2022, both men had evolved. Canelo had moved up in weight, and Golovkin was older. Still, pride was on the line. Golovkin entered the bout determined to prove he still belonged at the elite level. While he lost the decision, the trilogy cemented one of boxing's defining rivalries of the modern era. 9. Vanessa Martirosyan. When Martirosyan stepped in on short notice in 2018 after Canelo withdrew, the tension was awkward. Golovkin felt frustrated by the disrupted schedule. Though he stopped Martirosyan quickly, the situation symbolized the chaos that sometimes surrounded his biggest fights. 10. Rita Murata. Golovkin's unification bout with Rita Murata in Japan was both historic and physically demanding. Fighting in Murata's home country added pressure. Murata started strong, landing heavy shots, but Golovkin adjusted and secured a late stoppage. The fight symbolized resilience. Even late in his career, Golovkin could rise to the occasion against a dangerous champion. For Gennady Golovkin, hate was never about personal animosity. It was about competition, controversy, and the relentless pursuit of greatness. Each of these fighters forced him to elevate his game, and in doing so, they helped define the legacy of one of the most feared middleweights of his generation.